Hey, what's up, everybody? This is FitSpaz Radio. I'm Paul, the producer, and that's my buddy Brian.
What's up, everybody?
How goeth it with you? A lot has changed. We're now in the year 2016 since we last talked to you together on this thing, right, Brian?
Absolutely. It's a good year so far.
Yeah, maybe. It is actually, in a lot of ways, good. Which tonight I was just telling you before we started that I want to talk about injury and New Year's goals, and
But not a goal to be injured.
No,
in the new
definitely not. My goal was to do hammer and chisel, and within the first week, on the sixth day, I think it was, on that Saturday before Super Saturday, I sprained my ankle, and
Yeah.
that was not cool.
No, it's not cool.
And I've kept pretty good spirits about it. I've kept productive and working out every day, but I've had to give up my aspiration to do hammer and chisel for the time being.
Yeah, no, I understand that. First time I tried P90X, I actually made it P127X because
Oh, jeez.
all the injury days that I had
Not
during that.
perfect.
No.
I was going to ask you that. So you've been injured before doing Beachbody workouts or workouts in general?
Yeah, actually, usually I don't get injured doing the workouts. I injure myself doing something stupid. So, like, when I was doing P90X, I had taken a kids football team that I was coaching at the time doing something called ice blocking. Start at the top of the hill. It's the middle of summer on grass. You sit on, like, a large block of ice, and it's like sledding in the summer. Well, the stupidest thing of all, I didn't injure myself when I was going face first down the hill on top of this ice block on my chest. Small ice block, big me. No, I injured myself when I got to the bottom of the hill. I went to put my hand down to push myself back up. Yeah, injured my hand.
Oh, man.
And I couldn't
So
do
you were horsing around, basically.
Yeah,
with
and
a bunch of kids.
Right. And and I couldn't do anything upper body for several weeks.
Oh, man, that's a drag. So I'm glad it's not just me. For some reason, I had it in my head like, oh, you've never been hurt. Nothing bad has ever happened, but...
No, small injuries, I tend to find a way to work around them a little bit more. Like I injured my shoulder a couple months ago. I just kept working through it.
So I've found for me that since this is a long and lingering injury in my foot, I'm more frustrated the longer it goes on, even though I'm getting better because I've been doing a lot of the same things over and over, and I'm like, okay, it's time to be better. I want to expand my repertoire and do some cool stuff again.
Now, have you sought out any medical advice
No
or
way.
anything like?
I talked to Dr. Paul in the mirror.
you know, actually, typically what I will do with injuries is actually see a chiropractor about it because I actually find that they give me more good advice as far as being able to get back into working out, activity, stuff like that, more than a physician would because they actually deal more with your joints and your bones and stuff like that. So more likely that they can give you a good idea of how to get back on track faster.
I hear you, and I just am very deterred from the doctor. And honestly, I read up quite a bit about these types of injuries. I was from the first day able to plant my weight on it, and I started noticing after a day or two that there was an improvement. So I was like, go to the doctor. I don't think if I thought something were broken or severely wrong, I would have been there by now, but I'm not perfect. I'm walking better. I'm hoping within 2 weeks I'll be able to do whatever I want again.
Yeah, and hopefully that's true. Then you'll just extend your hammer and chisel out a little bit and be perfectly good.
Well, yeah, as far as starting that up again, I'm like, dude, I don't know how I was feeling about it because it was definitely not heavy workouts. It's all this cardio endurance type stuff, right? And weird balance junk and stuff, and
Yeah, see, that's because you only got through the first few days. You get it.
and there are workouts I didn't get to. You're right, like hammer power, isn't that one of them?
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually right now lifting my arm like this is a little bit painful from the workout this morning. So
that's cool. Well, I know there are others, and I want to preview the others because I was kind of thinking maybe I just sort of want to combine it in a hybrid like someone else I saw online did with Body Beast because I still want to keep working out. I lost about 3 or 4 pounds since I finished Body Beast, and I'm like, wait a minute, how much of that was body fat? How much was muscle? And I don't want to lose my muscle. jumping around with Autumn Calabrese all the time?
Actually, I think if you go through this entire program, you're actually more likely to gain muscle, even if it's at a slower rate than Body Beast, than lose anything.
I just need to lift heavier weights, is what some people were saying. I didn't know where to start, kind of. That's my thing. It's like I have to experiment a little with it to see where I am.
Oh, absolutely. First time through any workout program, that very first workout, it's all about trying to find that right way and trying to get in the groove of things. So,
It's not that easy. It was that chisel endurance, I think it was, and they do all these things jumping up on the bench, and I was like, gosh, I wish I was modifying. Why did I have? And I was just trying to run up on the bench as fast as I could, and I wasn't paying attention. I don't blame anybody but me. But if I started up again, I'm going to be playing it a little more cautious. I'm more aware now. I immediately had this thought of my kung fu master saying, "Pay attention," and he's just like, "Pay attention to everything." And you'll run around the room 10 times, and you'll not know you ran around the room 10 times, and they'll be like, "How many times do we run around the room?" Okay, close your eyes. Over there, I put my shoes. What kinds of shoes was I wearing? And you're like, "What?" So you have to. So when you're not paying attention to something that obvious, when you're stepping up on there quickly, I just really blame myself. I should have just been going more slowly and controlled, but I was really like, I've 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 increased my cardio endurance, or at least I had, and I'm just trying to push myself really hard past
so
what I'm doing. You know.
that would have been me too. I would have gotten to a certain point because I don't let myself. Actually, my big key to getting the most out of my workouts at this point is I imagine whoever's on that TV screen is in the room with me, and how would I be working out then?
Right. It's interesting you mentioned that because when I'm working out around people or in a public gym, I actually feel like I'm performing better, lifting heavier weight,
Well,
and
yeah, egos gets in there.
something psychological kicks in, and I feel more powerful or in public or something. And you don't want to be that guy that they come and pick on and be like, "Come on, dude." You know, that's not cool. I shoot my sights above being not the weakest person in the crowd and not noticeable for that distinction, essentially.
Well,
But
that's
I am, just so that you know, I am. So we're into the new year now. Overall, 3 weeks in, how are you with regard to everything? Fitness, your business, your life. How are you managing thus far to meet your goals that you've had in mind for the new year?
and the interesting thing is that I actually didn't make goals for the new year. I actually set
Oh,
goals prior to the new year getting here, so I'm still working off of those. And
I
I will
see.
tell you that business goals, they're actually coming around pretty
Good,
nicely.
yeah.
Business is increasing, and more than anything for me, that means that I'm helping more people, and that's the key
Good.
for me. Is I'm helping more people. That's making me happy. Have some people that are getting some phenomenal results so far this year. Um, Physically. Uh, I'm increasing strength faster than I thought I would, so I'm happy about that. I'm actually sore, and you would think that that's not necessarily a good thing for a lot of people, but the amount of muscle soreness that I haven't been this muscularly sore since I very first started exercising like 4 years ago.
And this is all because of hammer and chisel.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Interesting. I've been listening. You've been talking about some of the heavy weights you're using and stuff in your online videos.
Yeah, and I have to admit, sometimes I'm scared to go even that little bit higher because some of these moves put me in a precarious position that since I work out by myself in my basement when no one else is up, if I happen to
Oh,
crumble, there's going to be
loud.
yeah. I hope it's loud because if I crumble, I hope somebody hears it and runs down to assist.
And some of these moves, I'm like, you know what I like about Body Beast is the simplicity. It's like, okay, you're doing this chest thing now, and it's just up and down like this. So they do these weird things where you're lying on the back on your back on the bench with your legs suspending you in the air, and you're doing a bench press on your right arm, and then your left leg is coming up. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh yeah, I
about?
did that one this
And
morning.
I'm thinking to myself, does it really have to be this complicated to get something good out of it? And I'm like,
Well, and it's all
crazy athletic training.
it is, and it's all about the end result that you're looking at. They're
Right.
working your entire body every
Mm-hmm.
day and working it in a way that actually is going to chisel you faster.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it's called hammer and chisel. So no, I hear you. I wasn't a big fan of the balance one. It just made my brain feel tired from all the balancing. But I didn't feel sore from that one.
Ah,
And still, even the first exercise where you're sitting on the bench and standing up with one leg, that killed me. And I still didn't get sore.
now here's the thing about this is that in a lot of workout programs, the ones that are well balanced, you have something like yoga or something like that in the middle of it.
Right.
Well, this one doesn't have any yoga,
It's
so
just all hard,
so
balls to
but
the
so if
wall.
you're thinking about what yoga gives you, it gives you stretching, it gives you some mobility, it gives you balance, etc. So they get you some of the balance in the middle of the workout program, so that's part of
That's a
that.
little bit of yoga-ish, is what you're saying.
Well, it kind of gets some of those aspects in there without directly going, okay, today's yoga day.
Right.
Same thing with there's another one that's more of an active recovery day, which is
Hmm.
like a lighter cardio day that I've actually had people complain, this isn't hard enough cardio, I'm going to go do something harder. I'm like, no, it's in there for a
The idea
reason.
is to get your blood flowing and.
Right, but it's active recovery. So you're actually stretching out your muscles and
Mhm.
using them, but not in a way that overtaxes them and breaks them
Right.
down again.
I also realize the benefit of that balance thing is for the mind too. I think you're doing something great for the mind when you have to focus so hard on standing on your foot for a million years. And I don't remember that last move in it where you're like back and forth and doing whatever you call it. I'm such a pro, but it was just like I don't know about this one. I miss those more straightforward workouts of Body Beast is what I was thinking.
Yeah, and they definitely are. It's just a straight push pull type of mentality with Body Beast.
And I want to get big.
Well, and you are getting big.
Yeah, slowly but
So how
surely.
about you? How about your New Year's goals so far?
In a lot of respects, I've been doing really well, and I had a couple days hijacked by various unplanned, unforeseen things like Comcast setting that up. I took it out of my house, and I was like, this CenturyLink really sucks. So I spent a day putting it back in, and it just wasn't working. So I was exchanging the modem out, and I lost a lot of time on that. But I've done actually a lot of really cool things, and especially trying to work the business. But I'll tell you afterwards because I don't think it's interesting for this. Just the aspects of frustration I've had, and trying to figure out, oh well, should I just keep doing it like that? Because there are things I need to change and tweak. But I've really done a lot to build out the website for this show a lot in the past couple weeks and improve it. And I think that doing the radio shows regularly will be a lot of good content. I think the other one is kind of interesting because it's about substance abuse and recovery from substance abuse and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think it gels well with this in my mind at least because it's a good mix with fitness because people who quit drinking or whatever it is their problem is, they're searching for something meaningful in life that makes them feel good. And I think fitness is it. You find community in it, especially through what we're doing, and you also find just the endorphins that hit the brain. Your body just naturally feels better when you get it moving a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, the days that I don't work out, I'm a little bit grumpier.
yeah, and goals. I've been working on a freemium, and I'm slowly inching my way. Like the freemium itself is almost done, and I set up a website for it, but I have to like design the website for it. And
Sure.
I got the email account things set up that I was telling you about. None of these are about fitness per se, but it's about actually trying to build this community to be great to inspire a lot more people. So that's kind of how it's relevant.
Well, and the thing about it is that the community that you have, there's so many more people out there to reach that need your help, that
Hmm.
want Paul FitSpaz out there teaching them how to be more fit,
Yeah.
more rounded, well individual.
I
So,
had a couple people who through Facebook have just been privy to what I'm doing because of my posts, and they actually wrote me and asked me, "Oh, what about this program? What about that program?" And I was like, "What? Holy cow!" And they were people like I'd kind of written off, like you said, people you would never expect sometimes come forward and are like, "Hey." Um, so that was really positive. And you know what is true? I go to the library to try and be productive, and something reminded me about what you say. Well, if you just do the workout for the first 5 minutes, for me, it's just hitting play, and once it's going, I go. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
And I love that. Once I'm into it, it's like, unless I hurt the living crap out of myself, I'm not stopping. But that's the same with the library. Once I get in there, there's just this absence of distractions, Comcast with all the stupid crap I shouldn't be watching. And so I get in there and my mind is in a productive mode. In 3 hours today, I got quite a lot done. And so I ask myself, honestly, we've read the book, The Compound Effect. What the hell would materialize in my life this year if I kept up with those productive patterns? I think that's essential. It's like not just doing it one day, but keeping it up over time with that end goal in mind, with knowing you're aiming at that target, doing the right things. I think Shalene calls them the push goals or something.
Sure.
Dude, I just am like, keep this up and the results will be fabulous.
Well, and just to your point, the difference of continuing every day versus kind of hit and miss type of thing is the
Yeah.
difference of at the end of the year you gaining another 20 pounds of muscle
Yeah,
or maintaining exactly where you are.
right.
And that's the same thing with anything in life. If you just do it hit and miss here and there, that's the results you're going to get out of it. So it's all
Right.
about being consistent, even if that consistency is, walking a mile every morning. You're doing something for yourself, and if you do it consistently, you're going to get somewhere.
Yes, in fact, well, and also being able to identify what's not working and tweaking that and changing it. So I've been, believe it or not, I've probably been bothering Mike a lot more than you. But the honest truth is also, I'm trying to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet and answer my own questions and get it done on my own, and really only seek out assistance from you when I'm just like at my wit's end with something, which I am, but I will get with you on that afterwards.
Well, I'll tell you, here's another physical goal that actually I'm pretty proud of my dad for doing. So last year he had a goal. He just set out that he was going to walk every day. Guy's
Yeah.
68 years old. He's already doing P90X3 or Power
Right.
90 on a daily basis.
He talks about his steps online too. Like
Right.
this year I've walked this many steps, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
So he had the goal last year of being able to walk the equivalent of from Denver to New Orleans. And
That's extraordinary.
he kept on going far enough that he actually made it instead all the way to New York. Now, if he would have just stopped at or done it here or there, he still would have reached that first goal he had set out. But the compound effect that he had by continuing to go and he improved his performance and was walking longer distances meant that he walked a lot further in a given year.
Mhm.
And this year he's actually planning on trying to double that. So you can
Wow.
see where it is mentally, where you can take a goal and how it can just build on itself, and it might even build on yourself even
Like
more than you
momentum,
expect.
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You reach plateaus and then you double down your effort, and then suddenly you can take off again.
Right. No, yeah. So honestly, at any age, what he's doing is impressive. But
Absolutely.
just in spades, that how much that impresses me.
I walked to New York last year. He should have gotten a bunch of people to donate $1 per mile.
Actually, I was talking about. I said, wherever you're going to plan on walking to this year, like put aside like $1 or something. Like go do a GoFundMe and get people to give you a penny for every mile you walk or something like that.
That's a good idea.
And then take the trip when you're done. So you walk to New York. Take a trip to New York.
You know what makes me nervous about what you're suggesting, and this is just my paranoid mind. So you're suggesting your dad walk down the road with cars all the way to New York? Because I wish they would make a path to just walk on to New York. When I think about walking on the road, I'm like, no, forget that. You know what I mean? It makes me nervous, and that's just paranoid me. You walk down the road and some jackass is gonna plow over you and you're dead, and then you're like, well, so much for my walking to New York. But again, that's just my paranoid mind. I'm a little bit like that. Same with bike riding. If you were like, I mean, that's a great goal, riding a bike to New York, but that's dangerous. You need to drive a tank to New York, or a very safe mode of transportation. But yeah, they should make walking paths to all these places separate from the cars, because that's just my own paranoid bend on that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yes. So what's up, Brian? Tell me more about you and yourself.
Right now, a lot of my concentration in the New Year is really about making sure that people that started off hot and heavy stay on their path, the path that they chose. So it's continuously reminding them of their goals that they started off with. So they're not like the people that go to 24-hour fitness January 1st, and by January 17th, they've sold all of
Flaked
their
out.
exercise clothes and they've donated them to Goodwill or something like that, and they're done. No,
That bums me out when people do that too.
no, my entire goal is I don't want anybody to start and not finish. And sometimes I get too personally invested that I make their goals my goals, but I want
That's
that
why I
for
think
them.
a specific workout program can be really good because it's like you know what you're committing to ahead of time, and it's like between point A and point B, and then some people will just go and be like, "Oh, walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes," and so I like these very well defined programs from beginning to end. It helps me
Oh yeah, if it wasn't
thinking that that long term specific goal of getting all these things done in this order, and I can say, "Hey, I did that."
I will tell you, I would spend a lot more money if it wasn't for this, because if it was just left up to me, I might still flounder around to a certain extent, and
Hmm.
I'd be hiring a personal trainer on a regular basis. Not that there's something wrong with that, but it would be a different expense, and I'd still be having it, and it'd probably cost me even more to do exactly what I'm doing.
I can see the benefit of personal trainers too, because sometimes people need that person there just pushing them to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely, and they definitely have their place. I have a bunch of friends that are personal trainers, and they do great work, helping transform people's lives. But
I've also heard people object and say, "Oh, sitting at home working out alone." And I say like you can stream it, you can be out at the gym and stream it. You can also just having the DVD there psychologically, it's almost like some kind of person there because they're going through the motions and steps.
what I don't like about the gym is when the guy is on the piece of equipment I want to use. That's why I'm not going to the gym.
Exactly. I've thought that exact same thing before. When I'm like, boom, 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 I gotta move, do this, and then you're standing there when
I,
it's time to do your thing.
I have stuff to do. I have enough of my life that's busy between business and family and everything else going on. I don't have time for the gym.
To wait.
To wait at the gym and to drive to the gym and back. It's time I don't want to
And
spend.
we could also be that person getting in someone else's way. Like you have a superset, and then you're going from one thing to another, and it's like, hey, you're using all these different pieces of equipment now, and so it gets clogged up. I just like to have a little corner there to myself, and here, these are my things. Get away, everybody, and I'm done.
See, that's why I slowly built my gym in my basement.
Yeah, I can see that. I would love it if I had more space down here because I would get a punching bag and I would get a treadmill. On cold days, I've literally wanted to walk. So upstairs, I can make like a loop around my kitchen table and around the coffee table like that. And that sounds lame, but I've done that before. I've done half an hour loops around there like that because I'm just like restless and wanting to move.
Maybe just get somebody to play tag instead,
Yeah, my daughter loves to play tag.
Yeah,
But
see, there you
she
go.
won't go in the right. I like to have it open so nothing's in my way and the turns aren't too sharp and I'm really particular, obsessively. So let's see, Brian. I don't want this one to be that long, but do you have anything you'd like to say right now before we conclude?
The only thing is, Paul, I think what you're doing in terms of reaching out to people and helping them is a beautiful thing. I actually feel privileged that we work together, fighting the trend of obesity in America, and more than happy to continue that journey with you this
Nice,
year.
that's nice. It is about helping people and even though I haven't helped that many people, I've actually prayed every day. That's part of my prayer that I want to be able to figure out how to connect with people so that I do help them. And so putting myself out there, letting people see this is what I'm doing. If you hit enough people eventually, you're going to have a percentage of them want to follow in your footsteps, right? And not that it's
Yeah.
about me, but just
No, you're going to find
service
your
to your
tribe.
fellow man. That's what I think.
You're going to find your tribe, the people that you speak to that want Paul as their coach, that need you to help lead them to a better place.
Lead me to my tribe's teepee. because I've always wanted a TP. Actually, I have bad memories of a TP in college. Never mind. Um, Dude, so this is FitSpaz Radio. I want to tell everybody, go check out fitspaz.com. I've been working on that. There's a whole backlog of shows now. I'm mellowing out a little bit because I was a little weird at first. I was listening to them like, you need to just take it easy and be yourself. You don't need to be wild and bouncing off the walls like a freak, and because I have that tendency, you know what I mean. So check out fitspaz.radio.com. I'm hoping the feed that I just submitted to iTunes gets accepted in the next few days, and then you'll be able to subscribe to it on your smartphone.
Oh, awesome.
Which is really cool. And there's an RSS feed that you can just subscribe to if you're on an Android too. So that's the scoop. I want to thank Kevin MacLeod for all the music that I'm able to use in this show, and that will be developing too. Watch out for all that's coming. I'm going to be keeping up with these regularly. Check out the FitSpaz Recovery as well. Thank you, Brian, and definitely take it easy, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Many more. Engage. I needed that screenshot. Very good, everyone. Take care.